Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 4 of Talking Cardboard. We've got Robert with us. Nope, I do that wrong each time. Here we go. He's on this side today. And now we got down below, we got Ryan from Breakout Cards. We're going to keep it real today with him. And this is our episode. So we're gonna have a little fun chatting with Ryan and see what his endeavors have been all about. And take it away, Robert, with a couple of introductories.
All right. So our biggest thing on this channel is trying to educate people as much as possible, whether it be grading decisions, buying decisions, what to look for in the cards. And I've seen a lot of your content, but for the people that are tuning in, can you explain what got you into the hobby and what drove you to do what you're doing now with spotting fakes?
Yeah, I mean, I started with the hobby when I was very, very young, pretty much when I was born, because my dad owned an LCS in the 90s. And then he sold off his LCS and his entire card collection. Then when the market crashed, he got out of the hobby.
Like
And when
mid
I was born,
90s, 95.
yeah, I don't know the exact year, but he sold it all because all the junk wax got out. And I was born. I was a reason for him to get back into cards. So when I was started at a really, really young age, it would take me to flea markets, would take me to card shows, card shops. And, I started learning early on vintage, the way to go. And I had a lot of fun with that. I know I didn't ever really thought I was going to make content. And flash forward, end of college, I was looking for another hobby. Me and one of my friends also collected cards. We're both in the Night Runners Club. We're both runners. I'm an ultra runner. He's more short distance, but way, way faster than me, Steven. I decided to make a YouTube channel to cover the Florida card show scene because no one really was doing that. There's other card show vlogs out there, but no one was really covering Florida yet. So we started documenting all the different Florida shows, having fun with it. And then I got scammed. I wouldn't say scammed, but I lost money on a fake card in January last year on a Mario Lemieux rookie card. And I didn't want other people to get scammed. So I started building out a full series teaching people, how to spot the real versus fake. Because I've been in the hobby for a long time. I knew people made fake cards of, let's say, like a Hannes Wagner or a Mickey Mantle or a Babe Ruth.
Sure,
or
really big stuff.
High ticket stuff, but I didn't expect the Mario Lemieux rookie card, which was $100 for a shitty copy, to be faked. And I got scammed. I'm like, man, if I got scammed, other people are getting scammed as well. So I decided to start making that series. I learned a lot through that. And I feel like a lot of other people are as well. And just educate people as much as possible. I put out hundreds of hours and hundreds of thousands of hours into research into this stuff. If I can help educate other people and, shorten the learning curve, that's the best way to do it.
Dude, that's real deal stuff. I can't imagine, how many times people have been ripped off and they never know until they go to try to give it or sell it or, whatever happens to it eventually down the road. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
And it's funny, not funny, but like people that do consignment, vintage consignment, it happens involve like 80 or 90% of the cards are real. And, you get a few cards in that collection that are fake. Someone just does not know. And it sucks. Someone had a 1914-15 Cracker Jack of a Ty Cobb in a collection. Everything else was real except for that card. And
Wow.
It's like, I saw on Twitter the other day. I'm like, man, that must suck because someone I'm sure paid pretty penny for that a long, long time. It's never been a cheap card.
No.
Now, you said you started off, doing the Florida shows, but now you've moved on to doing a show per state.
Yeah, it's a fun project, man. It's exhausting though.
I
How
have
many
to
states
ask.
are we up to?
What was that? You guys interrupted.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to ask if you've been to Wisconsin yet.
I have. I went to the Wisdell's show. That was
Nice.
the fourth state I went to.
Oh, cool.
So,
That's my lucky
yeah.
number. It was meant to be.
So obviously Florida was number one. Then I went to Illinois for the national. Then I went to Dallas and then Wisconsin. So that was state number 4 for that one. But no, I love the Wisdell show. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it's continuing or it's been discontinued, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun. Definitely a top 5 for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping to have some in Wisconsin in the future after I get my LCS open. So I'm opening one, hopefully this summer, late summer, something like that. So I'm hoping to get some shows in the area and kind of revitalize a community around here.
Yeah, if you ever find out what happened with Dell's show, if they're going to have it again, like I said, it was my favorite. So it's in the big water park resort area. It was so cool. There's great food nearby as well.
The Dells is a really cool place. So how many are you up to now? I think Robert was going to ask you.
Yeah, 19 states. I'm going to go number 20 this weekend in Arkansas. So all that end of the month, I'm going to Kentucky as well. So I'll have 21 going into May. I'll be honest, I haven't really booked out May shows yet. I've been so busy between all the house stuff, between work and the tax season, still have to get all my taxes done as well for like business and personal. I've been working on that stuff a little bit in the past, but like it's obviously due towards the very end. But
Life.
really, it's a really hectic schedule because I still have to work 45 hours a week. Plus I build all the content at the very end of the days. Plus now you throw in all the house stuff for new construction, which is a pain. Plus taxes due at the end of the year. Like a lot of stuff going on right now.
That's a
Plus
lot.
articles
Yeah.
that need to be for different people. Just it's crazy time.
I
Yeah,
paid my
I'm right-
taxes today, so
I'm
mean,
right there with you.
But not yet.
I'm right there with you. I just moved up to Tennessee, maybe, what is it, the 12th, 13th, like 12 days ago. So I'm going through the whole getting the house ready, learning everything, because Florida, you know how it is. It's flat, dude. My driveway has more incline than the whole state of Florida. It's relearning how to drive. It's pretty crazy.
No, it's fun seeing other places though. Like last week or not, was it last week or 2 weekends ago? Man, I lose so much track of time. People don't even realize that. Like I didn't even realize today was the 11th for a while. But when I was in Montana, it was fun climbing up the mountain over there on a run after the card show. I was super exhausted. I had like 3 hours of sleep getting into the card show, and then I was on foot the entire day for the card show. Record some videos with the bench clear guys at the Airbnb we rented out, and then got a few more hours of sleep to go run in the morning. But I was exhausted. It was fun checking out the mountain.
just wiped out though after the whole experience. You sleep for like 2 days, right?
I wish I got work Monday morning.
Well, fair
Damn.
enough. Yeah.
But some days I'm like zombie, man. I'm so tired.
So diving into it, like from your content, what I saw was one of the biggest issues was the new grading companies that have stepped into the market and allowing some of these fake cards to be graded and slabbed, which makes it the most easiest way for someone to not necessarily get duped, but kind of one pulled over on them. I'm not sure if you've seen the news with HGA today.
The owner is sold. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, my opinion of it, and it kind of sounds super elitist, but there really should be 4, maybe 5 grading companies out there in general: PSA, BGS, CSG, SGC, and then DCS, just because I've heard their main graders all came from like PSA and Beckett. At least they have authority out of it.
Sure.
It's not someone created a company out of nowhere. They've had that credibility and they've been in the hobby for a while. My problem with it is like people join the hobby the next day and then are going to try to authenticate, let's say like a 1933 Gaudi Ruth, which is heavily counterfeited, yet they've never seen that card in their life. They have no example what the card stocks can be, no example on the pixel quality. Like I don't even feel comfortable setting up a grading company. Like I show people what I know on fake cards. Like this is how you can spot a fake card. This is how I know to the best of my ability. This is what a real card is. But I could not myself say tomorrow, I'm going to start a grading company. I'm going to start breakout card grading because I don't feel like I have that expertise. Yet there's people that join the hobby within 1 or 2 years. They're going to tell other people like, this is how I grade a card. First, like no grading experience at any of these companies. They have their own skill. Who knows how that's operated out of. Number 2, the authenticity standpoint. There's so many fakes out there. I mean, there's fakes that PSA or all these other companies mess up with, yet we have all these brand new companies that expect to have the backlog or the knowledge or the images, the type of technology that these companies have. And yes, they do have technology that we don't know in the public, like guaranteed they're developing systems that we have no idea about because, you know, that's what's behind closed doors. Exactly. So the fact that someone thinks they can start a grading company like $500 or $1,000, $10,000 and compete with these guys, I don't know about that. And like, I'm not like trying to go against HGA all the time, but man, there's so many obvious fakes that were flooding through the system. Like for example, the Wayne Gretzky, there's no dot on his shoulder. And like anyone that's known
anything about that,
a little about hockey would know that there needs to be a dot on the OPG. Tops does not have the dot, but there's also other dots as well on the front surface of the card, just beyond. There's fakes with the dot on the shoulder and have other qualities as well, but there's other printing dots that you can take a look at that are like flaws on the card, but you should be able to know it. But the issue is like when you're trying to be an authority and you're missing obvious fakes, then what happens is other counterfeiters know, okay, if they're missing this, they're going to miss altered cards. They're going to miss, colored cards. They're going to miss trimmed cards.
Let's try anything we can and see what we can sneak through. Yep.
pass through that, then now you have something by slab. And if you sell off that slab at a card show or on a marketplace, it's, hey, it's the slab. I didn't know that it was fake. And now you have that ecosystem of people passing off fake memorabilia to these companies. It's like the same with all the autograph companies that come out of nowhere that authenticate, that are like worthless COAs. Like at the day, you have to look at who authenticated your autograph. I know Beckett, PSA, and JSA. That's what everyone goes to. I'm not an autograph expert by any means. There might be a fourth one, but those are the three big companies, at least I hear from people at card shows, that buy autographs from. You don't hear all these other random companies that start overnight.
It takes a lot of resources for autograph authentication, but it also takes a ton of resources to do card authentication properly.
Yeah, because you have cards ranging. I mean, I'm not going to count cabinet cards, but standard tobacco cards that we know of today from 1887 now all the way to 2022. And you're not just talking about four major sports, you're talking about all the different sports plus non-sports as well. And there's so many different releases that even the big grading companies have not graded yet that people aren't aware of. And good luck finding all the images, good luck finding the information about the set, because you can't just slap stuff based off of someone's word, which like say, oh, this card is 1992, this is who made it. Like, you need to do the research on it. You need to see, how the manufacturer actually built out the card. Otherwise, it's going to be trimmed or possibly altered. You don't know. And that's the issue as well, because these companies don't have the resources to really dive into those type of things.
I'll tell you one card I'd be super comfortable authenticating myself. 1990 Topps baseball. I've held so many 1990 Topps baseball that I could guarantee. Well, no, I can't even guarantee that. Who am I kidding? These guys are good at this, aren't they? How good are some of these fakers? I mean, is there a way for them to be so good that it can slip by? I mean, how often does it happen?
I mean, it happens. Like the fakes that are slipping by the grading companies right now are the ones that people put like authenticated autographs on the backs. And the reason is, like, let's say you're a grading company and you're grading so many cards, you look at a card. Okay, this is a certified authenticity on the front. It has an autograph and pen, like a real card. Move on to the next, right? Not doing a deep dive into it. And there's a lot of different upper deck cards that actually pass by because someone will put fake foil, sign in a pen as well, and have that stamp on the back that says it's autographed. And the company sees that, okay, moves on to the next step. There's also other ones that people recreate from scratch and have a lot of qualities. They're not full like what they should be, but they're close. And if you're not 100% familiar with the set, like for me, I'm not an expert on 1990s cards. There's a lot of fake 1990s, whether it's like PMGs or numbered cards. And
right.
I have the authority to really look at those cards and know they're real or fake or the serial numbers. There's other people that really know their stuff on that side of things. Great. They can look at it. For me, like, I do more of the vintage side of things, and I'm starting to take a look at some of the fake autograph cards that are out there in the early 2000s and 2010s that people are doing. I mean, beyond the upper deck ones I was telling you about, there's also people now taking Panini cards, right? Because the issue what Panini's having right now is they're having some cards that look the same between the base and the autograph version. Someone's going to sign a fake signature, Patrick Mahomes, and then they print on top of the back, this autograph has been certified. And the grading companies see an autograph on this card. There's no difference between that and the base. They see the stamp on the back and they authenticate it. I mean, people expect grading companies to catch everything, but until someone in the community goes out there and says, hey, this card is fake, and people deep dive into it, it's really hard. And props to those people that really discover this type of stuff, because I mean, it takes them hours and hours of research as well. And they probably find stuff and look at images side by side. I do the same thing with the fake slabs. I look at images side by side, put them in Photoshop, analyze them, and it's fun doing it. But man, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much time it takes to really get through that.
Now, as the hobby continues to grow, and I believe that we can all say that it's going to get even larger than what it is right now. It's going to keep getting big until Fanatics takes over everything in a couple of years. What's the single best piece of advice you can give to somebody who's just now entering the hobby for signs to look for a fake card?
So signs to look for a fake card, first know the card stock quality, because that's the easiest way. Like, for example, I mean, I'll show you this one over here. This is a fake 1955 Maze. I mean, from far away, it looks decent, but if you pull it out of the sleeve, it does not feel like a vintage card. So know what the quality is. And even like the newer fakes that are being created with sales and autographs, the card stock is way off. So know that. Other thing to know, like if you're vintage cards, know the printing on it, know what it should look like under a loop, know how to use a black light, because that's going to save you quite a bit if you compare cards under a black light. Fake ones are going to bright up really, really bad. Real ones aren't going to bright up just because of the ink that's used on it. You can also smell older cards that you will smell the age on it. Now, some people do put fake smells on cards or try to artificially age. Another thing to look for, artificially aging, if you have rounded corners on a card, if you have like people will try to put creases in it or put fake edge wear. Like once you start realizing what a fake looks like, you can spot majority of them pretty fast. There are better fakes out there, but it just takes time. Also learn about the basic alterations that people have. Like for example, if you're looking at a black border card, turn it to the edges, because what happens is people color them in with Sharpies. It's going to bleed through the edges. You look on the edges that has the black right there. Easy. Another fake way, not fake, but another alteration is like larger size cards, let's say 52 through 57, some of the Tops and Bowman releases. They're going to be larger. Other people sometimes trim them down to where they're like a 57 or 58 size. So if someone doesn't know, they'll compare the size of a 55 Bowman to a 58 or 59 Tops. They look the same. However, right, the 55 Bowman should be a lot larger. So there's a lot of different tips. Honestly, I don't want to really promote it too much, but
Sure.
I talk a lot about it in my book. Really quick read, rather than just looking through millions of researches online or millions of different sources online or videos. You can learn like the very basics in 80 pages, and it's a very quick read. It's not something that's going to take you hours upon hours.
Speaking of the book, and I know I saw in someone's video, I believe it was Mojo that was talking to you. What gave you the idea to really write the book? Was it simply just putting the knowledge out there, or is that something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I was just putting the knowledge out there, to be honest with you. I mean, as I was researching it, I was printing out a lot of a Word document. And over time, I was like, all right, I'm just going to turn this into a book, because I already have the YouTube series. I already have everything in the Word document. So just continue to like over time progressing into building out that piece of content. And I knew it was going to help people as well. So I was like, all right, well, if this is out there, someone's going to stop buying a fake, I think it's really worth it. And I wanted to see it in like a lot of hands of dealers or card shops, because that way, if they have that resource available to them, they'll at least have that knowledge to fight counterfeits in the hobby.
And
Can I get a
know
couple of
that-
autograph books? Is that a real thing?
No, honestly, I sign them for people all the time. I don't have any more. I literally sold out this weekend. I need to buy
Nice.
another. But what I do is I go to card show with like 4 or 5 copies that people want them. Yeah. And then I'll sign what card show it is, sign the book, and give it to them. It's fun.
Now, I understand that it's going to be extremely hard to really stay on top of the vintage side due to the fact that those cards have already been printed and people are going to continue to fake them. If you have the opportunity to sit down with some of these CEOs or designers of, Topps, Panini, anybody going forward, what's the 1, 2, or 3, or 15 things that you would recommend to them to prevent the fakes from going on in the future, seeing the way that these modern cards are selling for? I mean, to me, it's insane that certain cards sell for the dollar that they're selling for, and it's just going to get bigger through more time.
Yeah. So I'd recommend, and Wax Museum podcast talks about this as well a little bit, is a database for patches, because what happens is people swap patches to try to get a little bit more money, especially on like National Treasure RPAs. Because if you go from a single colored patch or 2-color patch now to a logo patch, there's a big price difference. And you already talked about expensive cards. That's the biggest concern right now with some of the modern cards, people swapping out patches or cleaning up autographs. So I wish there was a database where all this stuff was scanned and archived. So that way, if a grading company needs to take a look at a RPA, they can reference that from the company itself and look it up. Let's say it's number 4 of 99 of, I don't know, name a random player, whatever, right? Like some prospect in 2023 NBA basketball. Go in the database 2023. Okay, here's what the patch looks like, 4 of 99. Does everything line up the autograph wise? Does it line up patch wise? Okay, great. We can authenticate this card, because the problem is some of these companies will end up authenticating a card with a fake patch. And I mean, like if you're the grading company, you look at the patch, you look at the autograph, you think on the back, game used or player worn, plus it's been enclosed by Panini. You know the autograph is real, the card is thick. Like it has all the different signs. You don't know what patch it was, but there's members of a community that document all this stuff and can come back to it and look at it. Like there's only so many resources at the end of the day. I think that would really help the different companies.
That's incredible. Yeah, just a big database full of all the actual cards.
Yeah. And then, I mean, honestly, another thing too, I know the foil isn't perfect, but having at least a little bit of foil or other like tamper ways to like stop people from 100% counterfeiting the card. The issue right now is like in our hobby, base cards aren't worth a ton, so it's not a big deal. But in the past, obviously, base cards are worth a lot of money because we didn't have all these different types of parallels. So there's that side of things. But what's going for big money now is autograph patches. So if there's security ways to make sure that those aren't getting graded when they're swapped or the autographs are being altered.
Incredible. So with also in the hobby is seeing a lot of these non-sports starting to get larger. And I come from a TCG community as well. It was one that was no other way of saying it, but devastated by fakes. That's Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things for a couple of years where it was just rampant and people were just getting ripped off left and right. And then they started to influence different watermarks and different things like that. Do you think that if these companies were to come out with a watermark, or even when you look at some of the like the white boxes, black boxes where they have the embossed stamp on the back, do you think that's a route that should be taken on every kind of major card? Or is it
happening with, I think that's already happening with the autographs and the patches. Like they're so expensive, and the counterfeiter is going to have to make a thick card. They're going to have to replicate that autograph. They're going to have to replicate the patch itself. The big issue with the modern cards is the swapping. So I think at least on the high end of modern side of things, there's that, because the other stuff besides the RPAs is like parallels, like a super refractor or a red refractor or a gold refractor. And we aren't seeing those being fake at the moment. I mean, sure, things can change 3, 4, 5 years from now. Who knows, right?
That's a tough card, yeah.
Things, but people aren't able to replicate those as of the moment. So until someone can replicate those, then maybe look at other security challenges. Maybe manufacturers can figure out other ways, but I don't see that happening at the current time.
All right. And as we like to always do, I've also realized that in your PC, you kind of collect some out of the ordinary sports, the boxing, the cricket. What kind of drove that? And is stuff like that, do you see that available at all the shows you go to, or how small of a niche community is that community in itself?
Honestly, it's very little like at shows in itself, but it's just fun because you aren't fed the information. You have to research it yourself. I mean, not every YouTuber is out here going to tell you, oh, these are the boxing players to collect, or these are the sets here to collect. And there's not always articles out there. So you have to actually talk to dedicated collectors, pick their brain. You're going to have to go through researching different websites with this trading card database or PSA pop reports, or going through forums like Net54 and just research the stuff for your own. And that's the fun part about collecting. I hate where everything is just given to you. You deep dive and researching it, like that's the passion part of it. And that's why I like some of the niche sports, because there's that side of it. Like how many times I thought a rookie card was a rookie in cricket, and I'm like, oh, that's not the rookie card. Okay, I have to find another one. Oh, that's not the rookie. There's an early. Like I've did that so many times. That happened in boxing as well. And like I'm always discovering new things. I also do that in non-sports. I don't really talk about my non-sports PC just because it's super niche and people buy up what I buy. But to say this happens on that side of things as well.
That's always been an interesting thing for me, is especially with content creators and people growing in the hobby, and with technology and the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, everything that's going on. I kind of find it hard to sometimes kind of announce what you're trying to collect due to that fear of people going out and snagging up what you're trying to find as well. But do you think that the community, the pace that it's growing at, the level that it's growing at, is going to be good for the community of the hobby? Or do you think it's kind of, you have people coming in just wanting to flip the cards to make the money? And realistically, it started off as a hobby, and yes, it's always been a business, but the dollar amounts that it's growing to these days is astronomically high. And I just see that being kind of like the driving factor in people creating these fakes and trying to get the money. What do you think needs to change or be policed within the community and ourselves to help us for the long run of the hobby?
So, I mean, with new people going in the hobby and just flipping, I mean, there's always been dealers at card shows and all they do is flip as well. They don't have any collections. A lot of LCSs, they don't keep a PC. They look at cards as just inventory. So it's not really a new concept. I know a lot of people are talking about it from that perspective, but there's always been flippers in the community. We just see a lot more younger people that are going around carrying boxes now, flipping directly at a card show. And it does affect some of the dealers because people are going one dealer to one dealer selling cards rather than dealers in the past just bought from each other. So it does get a little bit annoying for people from that perspective. And even for like myself, like I do flip cards. I have my own PC. If those flippers were at shows, I'd find a lot more deals and be able to, turn those cards into some bigger PC cards or help pay for my townhouse. But it's part of the hobby. People are putting money into other people's pockets. So like it helps grow the hobby. And at the same time, like you need to have people continue to enter the hobby. You can't have it stagnant. You can't have the same people collecting for 40, 50 years without new blood entering, because without new blood, right, the hobby doesn't grow. You're not going to have new people that are going to want or appreciate the cards from such a long time ago. I think it's a breath of fresh air that there's a lot of younger collectors now, and there's not a ton, but I'm meeting a lot of collectors that are starting to get into pre-war or vintage cards because they watch some videos. They're like, oh, this stuff is so cool. I didn't know this existed. And they're going after some vintage cards. It makes me smile because it's like, yes, someone's finally like, nothing wrong with modern by any means, but like they're going back to the past and learning about the roots of the hobby before it blossomed into what it is today. So you need to always continually have that. Now, obviously with more money, there's gonna be more fakes, but that's why I put out the information I do. And there's other people that do as well. There's forums out there. I think the hobby does a pretty good job in policing itself. Obviously, I hope there's more people out there that continue to post what's fake, what's real, and inform people. I hope grading companies go out of the way and start creating databases showing people as well, because I think that's so important. They have access to all the fakes. They have access to all the real cards. They have high-res images. I'm here on my computer looking at what someone says is a possible fake card, comparing it to a real card, or looking online for something that someone called a reprint when it's really a counterfeit that someone made at home, and showing you got people like this is real versus fake. And that's the way I'm doing it. I don't have access to all this inventory that other people do. So, I hope other companies and other people will have the opportunity to start doing that. I think it helps educate everyone.
All right. Well, we don't want to keep you all night, and we got a little bit of time left in this meeting, but I kind of want you to go ahead and have a couple of minutes of a shameless plug. But the last question for me is, what is the Grail card for you?
Man, the Grail card always changes for me, because as I learn about different sports or non-sports, each has its own specific card. So like realistically in my mind, if I wanted to have like one card and retire with, I honestly couldn't answer it, because like some of the biggest Grail cards are going to be 6-7 figures. I know I'm not going to afford those for a very, very long time. So it'd have to be probably something niche. And if I say it, someone's going to end up buying it. So I'd rather just lip closed for quite a while until I can start acquiring one of those. I recently acquired one of my Grail cards the other day, and I'll show you guys. It doesn't really matter too much, but I've been looking for this card for quite a while. I thought I was going to get outbid, but this is the true Nirvana rookie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's
This is a Jenko. It's a European release, but I won that when I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a Nirvana song was blasting in the background, and won the auction. And I was surprised because I thought it was going to go for 4 or 5 times what I placed the bid in. But that was a card I was looking for a very long time. It's 2 iconic rock and roll figures. So that'd be one of my Grail cards. But there's a lot more other stuff that I'm looking for. And there's a part of like you want to educate people, but there's the part that you don't, because your subscribers outbid you on stuff. And I've had that happen. Right. Like cricket and boxing, there's stuff that I really want on that side of things, and people outbid me, and it's like, well, what can I do? And they're subscribers, and they show me the cards. Like, yeah, I wanted that card as well. I have the deep pockets, man. Like I'm struggling with the house payment. I'm struggling with going to all the card shows. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not super rich. I'm just trying to have a PC. So I don't really tell people what I'm going after until maybe I have those cards in my collection.
I'm with you on that, man. I definitely buy what I want of a certain thing before I start posting a lot about it on Instagram.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes I don't even want to post it because I'm like, man, if I can get 2, that'd be cool. This maybe one day I'll have the one in my PC, the highest graded, and then I'll sell number 2 or number 3 or whatever, or just keep them all in my PC itself and be like, I own all 3. No one else any other. But there's always obviously other cards out there. I mean, there's some cards that are one of a kind, obviously, but people have collections out there that no one has any idea of. There's always someone with a raw copy that we have no idea about as well. There's so much more to collect than what we see on social media or Facebook groups or what we see on art shows. Like that's only the tip of the iceberg. There's collectors that will never post what they have. You have some of the greatest collections that no one knows about. And that's the beauty of this hobby. Until you start networking with people, you find out about that stuff. But shameless plug. Yeah. So my YouTube channel is Breakout Cards. I also have Breakout Card Clips, which is short form content, breakout cards deep dive, which I'm putting on my personal collection videos and fake videos now on as well. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram. And I have my book out, Spotting Fakes. If you want to learn about fake sports cards in the hobby, it's $20. I worked on it for an entire year. You'll definitely get $20 worth of knowledge in that book, or at least I hope so.
100%.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for being a guest and telling us, a little bit about you and a little about what you're passionate about. We super appreciate it and wish you all the best, man.
Hey, no problem. And sorry again, guys. I was a little bit late.
No
It's all
worries.
good. Have you done Tennessee yet?
I have, yeah.
Where? Nashville?
Well, yeah. So my girlfriend's birthday and decided to go to the show. I think it was like a Saturday morning or Sunday morning. I can't remember at this point, but I went to the local show there. It was fun. I found a lot of really, really good deals going through their bargain bins there. Found like a Walker Bueller number to 5 autograph. It was like up to the release, but it was only like $30. And then number to 5, the non-autograph version for like $10. So I picked up both. The same seller had them. And like there were so many deals at the Nashville show.
That's great. Awesome, man. Well, thank you again, Robert. In closing,
I just want to say thank you. Like I've been kind of messaging you for a while until when I first got into the hobby. Like I called you like my little sports card detective. Like that's kind of like my little nickname for you in the very beginning. And it was one of those things when you first get into it, I try to learn as much as possible. So I've watched a lot of your content, trying to just figure it that way. I myself don't get ripped off in the long run. I'm not a huge vintage guy. I'm definitely more into the modern style stuff. But I also know that the long-term holding and investing of the vintage is kind of a great way to go as far as looking at the investment pricing and purposes for it. But I just want to say thank you for all the content. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you give back to the community and the hobby. If it wasn't for people like you, I feel that there'd be a lot more shady deals going on. And just want to say thank you.
No problem, man. And I appreciate you having me on your show. I was one of the first guests.
awesome. As always, everybody, like, subscribe, tell your friends if we suck or if we're amazing. I don't care. Just tell them. Thank you.